All right. Hello, everybody. And welcome to the Human Needs Are Human Rights rally. I'm Rabbi Moti Rieber. I'm from Kansas Interfaith Action. And we're very grateful to Boots on the Ground and 5051, as well as the other organizations that are here with us today, co-sponsoring, all of whom you can see over there. We are here today in our numbers to make our voice heard by Kansas leadership and by our fellow Kansans. We are black, white, and brown. We are gay, straight, bi, and trans. We are citizens and immigrants. We are Christians, Muslims, and Jews, and none of the above. We are the gorgeous mosaic that makes up America. And we are here for each other. My friends, I don't need to tell you that we are living in troubling times. America is showing its dark underbelly. The original sins of the United States, anti-black racism, brutal oligarchic capitalism, and slaveholder Christianity are all in power right now. The wealthy and powerful are completely protected from their criminal activity and the consequences of their actions. As the Epstein files show us, and as Tom Homan getting off for taking $50,000 in a brown paper bag also shows us. The wealth of this country is shoveled into the pockets of billionaires while the needs of the people are ignored. And we're insulted as welfare cheats while the super rich sail in yachts they bought with our money. And of course there are those whose lives are valued even less than that. From Gaza to Minneapolis, to the 1.2 million people incarcerated in this country who we so often forget. You may have been surprised that they shot a normie white woman in the face. But when Christian nationalism sees white people standing with the other, they see that as treason, worthy of death, and that is what we are facing today. We sometimes forget that the tenuous democracy that we've had in this country really only started from 1965 with the Voting Rights Act. And the backlash to that was almost immediate. The Voting Rights Act was 65. George Wallace was running on a segregationist platform in 68. And now all of that has been torn down as the governing philosophy of both the national and the state and the legislative level is white Christian nationalism. Whites on top, men on top, Christians on top, and everyone else either tolerated, deported, or shot. The structures of laws and norms that we depended on for these 2 or 3 generations have collapsed. There is no returning to the garden, and we have to recognize that 1 or 2 elections is not going to fix this. Here in Kansas, the legislature sees it as its job to use the state's wealth to pay off their donors and special interests, ignoring the needs of the people. We always hear Kansas can't afford it, but when it comes to fake abortion clinics, all of a sudden we can afford it. When it comes to the flat tax, all of a sudden we can afford it. When it comes to subsidizing billionaire sports owners, all of a sudden we can afford it. These are choices that are made, and we can make other choices. Dr. King, whose birth we will celebrate this weekend, said a nation that continues year after year to spend more money on military defense than on programs of social uplift is approaching spiritual death. This year, we are spending $900 billion on defense, plus another $48.5 billion over the next 10 years for the ICE Gestapo. And spiritually, we are on life support. As he said, we need a revolution of values. And that's what we're trying to bring here today, is the beginning of a revolution of values. My friends, we need to claim our moral authority and help bring that revolution of values. Whether we are believers or not, we take seriously the instructions of our sacred texts to care for the orphan, the widow, and the immigrant. Too often we have given away our moral power to those who claim Christianity but act evilly. But we can't afford to do that anymore. I, for one, am tired of asking for crumbs from a rigged system. We are here in our hundreds to say that the things that are necessary for human life and flourishing should not only be available to the wealthy, that housing and health care and food and a stable climate should be available to all. And not parceled out by people who don't care if we live or die and who take a profit on every dollar we spend. We are here to change the conversation from what can we get to what do we need. From surviving on the bare minimum to thriving to our fullest potential. We are here to say human needs are human rights. But the biggest problem we face, my friends, But the biggest problem we face, my friends, is despair. The idea is that things can't get better. The temptation to give in and give up to those who would love to see us broken and defeated. Our most important role, my friends, is to nurture and grow the belief that the world can be a better place and we can help to make it so. In the yearly Torah cycle that's being read in synagogues this year, right now we're in the story of Exodus. And in a week or so, we'll be talking about the beginning of the trip through the desert. So the way I was taught as a child to read this was as the Jewish people traveling across the desert to establish their sovereignty. Very concrete and literal. But I've been delusioned with this reading, for reasons that you may infer. However, I also looked at Exodus 12:8, where it says a mixed multitude went with them. It wasn't an Israelites-only club. I know from my work that I have much more in common with a Christian or a Muslim or an agnostic who shares my values than I do with a Jew who doesn't. And that models the kind of world we're trying to build. My friends, we are the mixed multitude. We are in this wilderness together, and it will take all of us to make it across this desert. We don't know what the promised land looks like or how long it will take us to get there, but we know that it's there, and we will do what it takes to move us and the world a little closer to it. Until then, it is our sacred right and responsibility to demand and strive for a nation and a world where the needs and dignity of every human being are no longer a dream deferred, but a way of life. Our speakers today come from a number of different organizations, and we're talking about a number of different issues, from fair maps to immigration to healthcare to climate, etc. These are all issues that people work on, that the organizations here work on, and they're all issues that need to be raised because they are all human needs. And we're very grateful for them. They're going to come up. As they come up, they're going to introduce themselves and their organizations. We got a very full program, as I'm sure you know, and then we'll have a little bit of a closing at the end. So thank you. I think our next thing is a song.
Right.
Okay. Thanks so much for being here.
Ain't gonna let nobody turn me round, turn me round, turn me round. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me round. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to freedom land. I can't hear you. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me round, turn me round, turn me round. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me round. Gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to freedom land. Ain't gonna let oppression turn me round, turn me round, turn me louder. Let oppression. I need more of that drum. Keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to freedom land. Ain't gonna let ICE agents turn me round, turn me round, turn me round. Ain't gonna let ICE agents turn me round. Gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to freedom. Ain't gonna let no fascists turn me round, turn me round, turn me round. Ain't gonna let no fascists turn me round. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to freedom land.
Well, hello. I don't get to say this very often, but it is a good day to be in the Kansas State House. Look at all of you. Hi, my name is Laurel Burchfield. I am the Advocacy Director at Mainstream Coalition. We've been fighting for over 30 years to make sure that extremist religion does not have a place in our State House. We are also part of the Kansas Fair Maps Coalition, which, along with all of you, helped stop the special session last November. Thank you. All right, y'all, 2026 is starting off rough. The supermajority has already signaled that they want dramatic cuts to our budget. They're investing public dollars to go after DEI programs in our universities. And of course, they're up to the same old tricks of providing less than 24 hours to provide public testimony on wildly unpopular bills. Right after this rally at 1:30, the House Education Committee is holding a hearing on a bill that would allow school districts to hire faith-based chaplains without any educational background or credentials to serve as school counselors in public schools. Because clearly, the first thing that the supermajority thinks that our Public Education Committee should be taking on this year is tax-funded religious coercion in our public schools. Now you know this, We elect our legislators to come to Topeka and pass laws that represent the values and interests of Kansans, real Kansans, not outside interest groups with money to invest. We elect them to represent you, and we're calling on them to protect the rights and freedoms of all Kansans, to protect our health care, our housing, our queer and immigrant communities, our public schools, our rural and urban communities, our young and our old. We're calling on them to do what is right and fair for all Kansans. For too long, the supermajority has shut us out. But today, we're in the State House. We're in our house. And we're here to tell them that we will not be silent. And when they listen to us, we're able to do common sense things that benefit Kansas. Now, last November, a small group of state legislators did something that should be common sense, but in today's political climate is actually pretty brave. They listened to their constituents and stood up to political leadership. They did not just listen to the constituents who agree with them or the loudest voices in the room, and we know who they are. They listened to the majority of Kansans who have voiced their concerns about mid-cycle redistricting, and they refused to go along with the scheme to call a special session to redraw the Kansas congressional map. Now that we're in regular session, we urge our legislators to be brave again. It's time to stand up for what is fair and right. It's time to pledge wholly and completely to not redistrict our congressional map to serve the interest of DC. It's time to say, no new maps! 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 All right, let's be clear about this. Calls to redraw lines now are not in response to any changes in population data or geographic shifts. It is not in response to requests from Kansas citizens either. It is a response to, or is strictly a partisan reaction to a national call to consolidate power in one political party. It's the wrong thing for Kansas legislators to focus on when they should instead be spending the next few months here in Topeka finding ways to lower costs, improve public safety and healthcare, and create jobs to help make it easier for everyday Kansans. Kansans believe in fairness. For dozens of Kansas organizations that make up the Kansas Fair Maps Coalition and the vast majority of Kansans, fairness means that our votes matter. Fairness means that we, the people, get to choose our elected officials to represent our interests, not the other way around. Fairness means that legislators should create opportunities to hear our feedback when creating new policies and legislation. Fairness means that our elected officials listen to us and make the best decision that they can for all Kansans, not just a special few. Our elected officials' job is to listen to us and try to help make life better for Kansas families. It's time for our elected officials to be brave and stand up for regular Kansans.
Good morning, everyone. I'm so honored to be here with you today. My name is Raphael Gonzalez, and I serve as a community mobilizer with El Centro. It's a nonprofit welcoming center that has served the Latino community in Kansas City for over 50 years. Our mission is to strengthen communities and improve the lives of Latinos and others through education, health, wealth, and advocacy opportunities. My mother was born in Mexico and came to this country to provide for my family. I was born in California and I came to Kansas at the age of 6. Since then, Kansas has been the only home I've truly known. But my story is not unique. Immigrants from countries all over the world came to Kansas long before me, and they continue to shape the state as workers, parents, students, and neighbors. Like so many family, my mom believed in hard work, family, and community. This is an immigrant story. This is a Kansas story. And that's why I'm here today, because immigration is not an abstract policy debate. It's about family, it's about belonging, it's about whether the people who build this state are allowed to share in this future. Kansas has always been shaped by immigrants for generations. As an agricultural state, Kansas has long relied on immigration labor in farming, fruit processing, construction, and caregiving. Immigrants have helped plant, harvest, build, and care for our communities. They are our co-workers, our classmates, and our neighbors. Kansas depends on their labor, their skill, and their contribution, yet often immigrant communities are treated as temporary or under-deserving, not because of who they are, but because of misinformation and policies that create unnecessary fear and instability. Right now, immigrant families are being affected by policies at every level. So at the federal level, restrictions on public health like Medicaid, increased cooperation with immigrant enforcement, expanded detention, create fear, especially for mixed status families. Even when people or their children qualify for services, fear can keep them from seeking help. In 2025, Kansas legislators considered proposals that had very harmful consequences, like SB 254, that aims to prohibit individuals without lawful immigration status from accessing public benefits like in-state tuition. When students who grew up in Kansas and attend Kansas schools are blocked from affordable education, we lose talent and we lose future leaders. Healthcare is also at risk. Medicaid cuts especially affect U.S. citizen children in mixed status families. When fear prevents family from accessing care, the children are the ones who suffer. Also, proposals like SB 178 would increase collaboration with local law enforcement and federal immigration enforcement, creating fear, discourage people from seeking help, and make communities less safe for everyone. I work with immigrant families in Wyandotte and Johnson County, and I see how fear drives hardworking people away from schools, clinics, and jobs. When people are pushed into the shadows, not only do they lose, but we also lose. Our economy suffers, our communities become weak, and then trust erodes. No Kansan should have to choose between safety and survival, and no child should ever lose access to care or education. Together, we hope Kansas representatives, if they can hear us, choose policies that welcome all Kansans, protect families, and strengthen our communities. There's a saying in Spanish, and I will say it in English. But in Spanish, we say, El pueblo unido jamás será vencido, means that the people united will never be defeated. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Ashley Hernandez, and I'm here on behalf of the Sisters of Charity of Leavenworth's Office of Justice, Peace, and Integrity Creation, where I serve as their organizing and policy coordinator. I'm here to address an issue that too often remains hidden from the public view: the current condition inside our nation's immigration detention facilities. Additionally, I am very proud to be a Catholic representative because of the Vatican and the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops has our support as well. Across this country, behind razor wire and locked doors, human beings are suffering in the false name of safety and security for our country. Men and women and children, many of whom are fleeing violence and persecution, are being warehoused in immigration detention facilities that violate the most basic human standards of dignity and rights. Immigrants held in detention centers are routinely being denied adequate medical care. They are held in overcrowded, unsanitary conditions. They endure prolonged confinement without due process. Children are being separated from their parents, and people are dying because they are being treated as less than human. Let me be clear. Our country's immigration detention, as it currently operates, is not about safety. It is about power and suffering. It is a policy choice of political fear-mongering rather than justice or compassion, and it is completely indefensible. Human dignity should never depend on one's citizenship status. When we allow policies to exist that treat migrants as disposable, we undermine the foundation of our faith and our humanity. We erode the moral integrity of our society. We cannot normalize this cruelty simply because it has become routine. Today we must choose justice. We must demand the end of mass detention of immigrants, demand accountability for the abuses they endured, demand a system of due process, family unity, and care for the vulnerable. So today I ask you, who are you willing to become in the blind pursuit of safety and control? What are we willing to tolerate in the name of enforcement? And whose suffering are we willing to excuse? Our faith, our values, and our shared humanity give us the answer. We must defend the dignity of every person. We must stand with the marginalized. We must reject systems that profit from pain and punish people for seeking a better life. It is time for us, people of faith, defenders of human rights, and advocates of dignity for all, to stand up together and say, this ends today. Thank you all for being here with us today.
We just got a text that the House is hearing an amendment on a bill, an anti-ICE amendment on a bill. So in keeping with the last two speakers, I want to do a little chant. Let's do it loud enough so they can hear us on the House floor. Fuck ICE! 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 Fuck ICE!
Good afternoon. I'm Reverend Dr. Jessica Williams. I'm with the Kairos Center for Religions, Rights, and Social Justice. I'm an ordained Baptist pastor and proud to be a leader with the Freedom Church of the Poor. The phrase Freedom Church of the Poor was taken from the words of Reverend Dr. King as he was organizing for the 1968 Poor People's Campaign. And in his acceptance of the 1964 Nobel Peace Prize, Reverend Dr. King said, "I have the audacity to believe that people everywhere can have 3 meals a day for their bodies, education and culture for their minds, and dignity, equality, and freedom for their spirits." If you have the audacity to believe that today, speak up. Because that is what we are here today to proclaim, that even those basic of our human needs and human rights are under attack. Today, 1 in 5 children in Kansas are hungry. 1 in 5. Shame. And that number will only rise as our elected so-called leaders in DC and in Topeka are plotting ways to make it even harder for families to eat. National cuts to the SNAP program will put financial responsibility on states, while policies in Kansas are already attempting to suppress the number of families eligible. Shame. These cuts come not because we have a problem of scarcity, but because we have a problem of political and moral will. The wealthy continue to receive tax cuts. The military budget has been increased to $1.5 trillion, all while we are withholding food from hungry children. It costs more to impose those work requirements than it does to provide those resources to families who are hungry. And even more abhorrent to me is that these sinful policies are often use the Bible as justification for such actions. Wrong. Because nowhere in the Bible do I ever read that Jesus judges the poor and hungry for what food they want to eat, or tell them how many hours they need to work before they can get food. But we do read over and over that Jesus does judge the rich and those in power for creating structural conditions that lead to poverty and hunger. In Matthew 25, Jesus says that he will gather all the nations around him and judge them based on whether or not those nations have met the basic needs of their people, or if they have chosen to institute harsher work requirements and age limits on food. And in the only prayer that Jesus taught, he instructs his followers to pray for daily bread. In that society in which 99% of those subjugated by the Roman Empire were hungry, such a prayer is not an abstract spiritual nicety, but a concrete demand for survival and an indictment on the unjust systems that withhold food from people. That is the prayer that Jesus taught the disciples to pray. Yet in the face of these unjust systems, Jesus also understood that food is a matter of survival, and he fed thousands and thousands in the face of Rome's abandonment of the people. And that is what many of us here today have done. We were encouraged to bring food items to share with our neighbors because we know that food is a matter of survival, and that in the face of abandonment and unjust policies, we take care of each other. This is not charity, it is solidarity. It is a matter of survival in the face of unjust policies that rip food from the mouths of hungry children, from 1 in 5 children in Kansas. As more and more of us are thrust into conditions of poverty and hunger, homelessness and sickness, we must find each other, rely on each other, gather together to build power because we know it does not have to be this way. Our faith traditions tell us that it does not have to be this way, and we're here today to say that we can build a better Kansas, one in which human needs are met and human rights are restored. But friends, no one is coming to save us. We are the ones we have been waiting for. We must build this world together, across lines that have been created and used to divide us from one another. We can and we must build a Kansas that lifts from the bottom so everybody rises. Because in this state, once founded on principles of freedom, we know that none of us are free until all of us are free. Will you say that with me? None of us are free until all of us are free. None of us are free until all of us are free. We're going to put that to song. This song was written by Arne Batson using a quote from the words of Fannie Lou Hamer. And we're going to sing together, none of us are free until all of us are free. Just fit in where you get in. None of us, none of us, none of us are free until all of us, all of us, all of us are free. None of us, none of us, none of all of us are free. Keep that going. None of us are free until all of us are free. None of us are free until all of us are free. None of us are free until all of us are free. None of us are free until all of us are free. None of us are free until all of us are free. None of us are free until all of us are free. None of us are free until all of us are free.
Good day, faithful Kansans. Good day, caring Kansans. Good day, loving Kansans. Buenos dias, todos. I am Sister Therese Bangert, a Sister of Charity of Leavenworth. I proclaim that God's Spirit is in the house today. God's voice is in the house today. God's love is in this house today. I've been to a lot of these rallies through all my years at the legislature. I want to commend this crowd from the bottom of my heart that you have listened to the speakers, and they are good. They are good. It's intimidating to be here. And I hope everyone is hearing us. You are exceptional. God's voice, God's love, God's Spirit is in the house. There is a chant that's often used in rallies. What does democracy look like? This is what democracy looks like. So what does loving your neighbor and defending their rights look like? For me, people taking to the streets to speak for their neighbors and safe communities. For me, people supporting their community's children. For me, advocating for health care for all is what love looks like. Your being here today in the Kansas People's House, talking to your legislators, is what love looks like. I dream that we as Kansans will make policy not determined by being against other Kansas. For example, urban and suburban against rural, the elderly versus the young, the employed versus the unemployed, the citizens as opposed to those without documents, those with health insurance against those without health insurance, the rich against the poor. I dream that policy will be made by reflecting on the common good for all Kansans. The Golden Rule appears across world religions as a core principle. From Christianity, love one another as I have loved you. From Buddhism's hurt not others with what pains yourself. The Judaic tradition, do not do to your fellow what is despicable to you. And Islam's call to love for your brother, and in parentheses, sister, what you love for yourself. I encourage you never, never, never come into this building without going to the office of both your senator and your representative. If they are available, ask to meet with them. If not, tell their secretary that you are a constituent and one or two things that you want them to vote for. She'll write a note. If you are unsure of who your legislators are, go into the library on 3rd floor in the north wing, turn to your left, and ask one of the staff there to help you know who your legislators are and where their office is in this Capitol. I repeat, never come into this building without stopping at their offices to let them know you are in the House. Sojourner Truth was a freed slave who lived most of her life in the 1800s. She fought fiercely for abolition and women's rights. On her tombstone is the question, is God dead? This is the question she asked her colleague Frederick Douglass when he was downhearted and reminded him to stay faithful. Is our God dead? No. I believe God is always near when we are speaking for and caring for our neighbors. And let us remember Dr. King, who we celebrate this weekend, and his constant reminder to love our enemies, and a reminder that God is able. Amen. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Anthony Alvarez. I'm a 21-year-old Kansan, and I work for the voting rights organization Loud Lights. My family and I immigrated to the U.S. in 2011 and moved to Kansas in 2015. Since living in the U.S., my family and I have lived under the decision of figures we could not elect and policies we could not vote for. As a result, I have developed a deep awareness of political exclusion and the critical role of voting rights. Since becoming citizens in 2018, my family and I have only become more aware of the inadequacy of Kansas voting rights. I saw the difficulty my mother had navigating the voting booth, with the language of ballot measures and candidate information being inaccessible to her. Since then, my mother has been involved in the battle for Spanish language options in Wyandotte County election information, because the ballot box should be open to all the people. At the same time we became citizens, federal courts overturned an unconstitutional Kansas law requiring proof of citizenship before registering to vote. With Mexican birth certificates and passports in progress, this would have been an undue burden on me and my family. It prevented another 31,000 eligible Kansans from being able to register to vote. But thanks to the effort of Kansas voting rights organizations, we were able to get this right back in our courts. As we enter this uncertain year, marked by the possibility of redistricting and a lack of a 3-day grace period, we must remember this recent episode in our state's history and recognize that our nation's struggle for democracy and justice is ongoing. For our entire history, certain people have not been able to participate in our democracy because of their poverty, their race, sex, or youth. Through the efforts of the people like the people in this room, more Americans than ever are able to participate in our democracy. As we continue the struggle to make sure that we are represented and that voting is accessible as possible, I also hope that we all remember the people in our lives who cannot vote and whose interests we carry with us into the ballot box. Remember our immigrant neighbors and the young people in our families who are just as affected by the actions of our government and who do not have a say in it. Thank you.
Today, my name is Christina Haswood. I am indigenous from the Navajo Nation. And I work for climate and energy projects. Welcome, real Kansans! It is an absolute honor to be with you all here today in our house, the State House. I want to acknowledge there is a lot happening in our country right now. There's a lot to be worried about in our great state and in our local communities. And we all know a handful of folks who couldn't be here today, but they are here in spirit. Thank you all for gearing up to be strong warriors today. In the handful of policies and human rights issues highlighted today, there is a common thread: climate. Oh, I forgot, climate's a bad word these days. Oh well, climate change is happening. There is no denying that in our state, that our state is not doing enough in terms of making sure Kansans have water conservation, renewable energies, clean air, healthy lands, transportation options that reduce the carbon footprint, and our health and well-being. Our partners here today at CEP, we like to call these issues wealth. I mean, who doesn't like wealth? Unfortunately, we know who likes the other kind of wealth: corporate greed. Corporate greed, where the goal each year is to pay shareholders and executives more and more from the previous year. Corporate greed snakes its way into every aspect of our lives, and it is no different with the affordability of utilities. Who else is tired of seeing their gas and electric bills raise up and up each year? Who asked for these data centers and the expansion of AI to come to Kansas? Did you? Did you? I surely didn't. That's right. These decisions are being made in the name of profit margins. These decisions are shutting down the efforts of clean energy but extractable energy. Like large-scale utility solar and battery projects, we need to remind our elected officials and appointed officials that we need and can do more. When policy, oh thank you, yes. When policy is passed that makes restrictions too hard for renewable development, who loses out on that? We do. When corporations get approval for their expensive fossil fuel projects, who gets stuck with the bill? We do. And who has the power to create change in our great state? We do. We have the power of hope. We have the power of empathy. And we have the power and the duty to protect Mother Earth, not only for Kansans for today or for tomorrow, but for generations to come. One more time. Who has the power to create change for our great state? We do! Thank you so much. I'm Christina Haswood from Climate and Energy Project.
Oh my God, why are you here? Thank you to Kifa, to Boots on the Ground, and the other sponsors for letting me speak today. Sorry, I'm not used to this, y'all. Thank you for all of you here today who are fighting for a better and more just Kansas. My name is Kim Weaver, and I'm one of the co-founders of YCO Mutual Aid.
And I want to start this out by saying I'm not really a speaker. I'm a conversationalist and a connector. And I listen to people's stories, and occasionally I get to share them. Today, however, I'd like to reflect on a truth that speaks to both my faith and my shared humanity. It's the truth that every person deserves access to health care. Not as a privilege, not as a reward, but as a basic expression of dignity. Matthew 25 says, "Whatever you did for the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me." This verse is not simply a call to kindness, it's a call to justice. And a reminder that how we treat the most vulnerable among us shows who we really are as a state. And here in Kansas, we face a challenge that tests our very calling. Our state has not yet expanded Medicaid, leaving more than 150,000 hardworking Kansans without the care that they need to live healthy, stable lives. It's a shame. These aren't strangers. These are people like my grocery store clerk, Elizabeth, whose kids grew up with my kids, and I spoke to every week and didn't learn until they were adults that she was hearing impaired. Or home health aides like 20-year-old Aaliyah, who planned to go to college and her mom died unexpectedly while she was still in high school, and all of her plans got derailed because she has her younger siblings to take care of. Or nail techs like Kim, not me, but the other Kim, who found herself suddenly caring for her granddaughter and now is preparing to take in her granddaughter's sister, who isn't biologically related to Kim, but still needs care. Kansans are single parents, they're homeschool students, they're immigrants, they're LGBTQ plus people, they're disabled folks, they're my cousins, they're your siblings, they're our grandparents. These people are the people who contribute to our communities every day and are often one illness away from crisis. When we talk about the data, these numbers, we must also remember that the faces behind them. In my county, Wyandotte County, families experience some of the starkest health disparities in our state. Preventable diseases go untreated, chronic conditions worsen, not because people don't care about their health, they do. I spent 2 hours last night listening to people talk about how bad it's getting for them. They worsen because access is out of reach, and it shouldn't be. We have the money. Moments like this rally shine a light on these realities, reminding us that without support, our neighbors suffer in silence. So expanding Medicaid would be a good start, but healthcare for all Kansans would not only provide care for those who need it most, it would strengthen our entire state. It would support our rural hospitals. It would help us to build healthier communities from the ground up. We cannot continue to look at healthcare as just another expense or treat it as a privilege. It's an investment into the people, our neighbors, who make Kansas strong and beautiful. It's a right rooted in our belief that every person has value. And when we advocate for the working poor and for those who have been pushed to the margins, we're living out the very compassion that our great state of Kansas embodies and deserves. The absence of health care for some is a denial of human rights, and that's incompatible with the values we hold dear. So today, let us speak boldly and demand health care for all in Kansas, not because it's politically correct, but because it's morally necessary. May we carry with us the conviction that healthcare is an expression of justice. May we raise our voices for those who cannot. And may we remember that when we fight for healthcare for all, we're not only healing bodies, we're uplifting souls. So today, let us go forward in love and encourage and a commitment to our neighbors, for their well-being is our calling and their health is our shared responsibility. And as we say in the Poor People's Campaign, and as the good Reverend Jess said earlier, when you lift from the bottom, everyone rises. It's time for us to rise in Kansas. Thank you.
Hi, how's this volume? Good? Okay. My name is Iman Alsaden. How about that? Better? Okay. Good morning. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Iman Alsaden. I'm the Chief Medical Officer of Planned Parenthood Great Plains. provide care for numerous abortion patients across Kansas and throughout our region of the country. In my work, I see every day how public policy determines whether people can actually access health care when they need it. That's why I'm here today, not just as a doctor, but as someone who believes deeply in people-centered policy and the health and well-being of our citizens. When we say that human needs are human rights, we mean that health, dignity, autonomy, and safety are not privileges to be given and taken away based on race, gender, identity, immigration status, or zip code. Over the past year, and I know you all have seen it too, it has become increasingly a privilege in our country to live a peaceful, healthy, safe, and free life. And that is completely and wholly unacceptable. People deserve to have policies centered around communities. People deserve to have dignity. People deserve to be healthy and safe. And it is so, so wonderful to hear from all of the leaders in all of these movements, and that we've all come here together today and that we're all working toward a safer, healthier Kansas. In healthcare, people-centered policy means patients are not forced to navigate political obstacles to access their basic human rights to be healthy and make personal decisions about their lives and bodies. People-centered healthcare policies mean care that is not just legal, but accessible. Care that is evidence-based, medically accurate, and inclusive. And all people deserve healthcare that is guided by trust in patients and providers, not political or religious ideology. In Kansas, I see patients delay or forego care not because they don't value their own health, but because policy has made their care impossible or harder to reach. That shows up every day in Kansas exam rooms and hospitals, and that is unacceptable. We know that reproductive health does not exist in isolation. When we talk about abortion care, contraception, prenatal care, maternal mortality, cancer screenings, we are also talking about economic stability, transportation, rural access to health care, housing security, and insurance coverage. Health outcomes are shaped by systems, and people-centered policy recognizes that reality and addresses the broken systems in which we are living. In the near term, a people-centered Kansas would remove medically unnecessary barriers that delay or complicate abortion and reproductive health care. It would protect the ability of medical professionals to practice high-quality, inclusive, and patient-centered health care. But we also need to name the long-term vision that we are all working toward. A truly people-centered Kansas is one where reproductive health care and abortion are treated like all other health care. Where medical decisions are made in exam rooms, not in this Capitol building. Where everyone, regardless of income, geography, or identity, can access the care that they need to thrive and live the lives that they've imagined and dreamed. This is what it means to treat health as a human right. None of this will work without fair representation, and that is threatened enormously by redistricting. When communities are not fully represented, policy focus ignores real human and community needs in service of a privileged few. We have sadly seen this time and time again. The intersectionality of our humanity is one of the most rewarding parts of life, and the pain of watching that be erased by violence, white supremacy, and policy is too much to bear, and I know you guys feel that too. Which is why these coalition matters so much, because people's lives don't fit into these silos, and neither should our policies. As a physician, I can care for individual patients, but as you all know and understand, policy determines how many people ever make it through my door. People-centered policy is not radical, it is responsible. It is humane. And it is achievable. We are building a future where individuals have the respect and dignity to exist without fear of violence, deportation, or criminalization for health outcomes.
time's up.
This is the Kansas we should be building together. This is the home we should be building together. And I so look forward to continuing this work with all of you. Thank you.
I just wanted to take a moment to say that we had a speaker on affordable housing, but they weren't able to be here today. So affordable housing is a major issue in Kansas. We have a very strong lack, a very big lack of affordable housing, which is one of the reasons why property values are going up so much and why our property taxes are going up so much. So building more housing will help to not only house people who are in insecure housing, but it will also affect the rest of us by making our own housing more affordable. So when you go to see your legislators later, make sure that, and the other piece of this, and the flip side of it, is the issue of homelessness, which gets a lot of attention because of a few people, or maybe not so much a few people, in downtown areas, but homelessness is a lot more than that. It's people living in their cars, or couch surfing, or living with their family without a home of their own. And again, this is a situation that's exacerbated by the lack of affordable housing. So housing is definitely a human right. And when you talk to your legislators, and when you fill out the postcards later and talk to your legislators, please make sure that the twinned issues of affordable housing and not criminalizing homelessness, not making that situation worse. If you find somebody, where are they going to come up with the fine? They just have another obligation. It doesn't make it any easier to house them. So there's a coalition called Kansas Housing Advocacy Network that Keith is a part of. A number of other groups in here are a part of. We have there's a list of policies that we're trying to get passed this year. We actually think that there's a possibility that we can get some of them passed. So keep an eye out for that. And if this is one of your issues that you're most concerned about, please make sure your legislator knows about it. Thank you.
Good morning. I am the Reverend Michael Vollbrecht. I am an ordained minister in the United Church of Christ and senior pastor of Colonial Church in Prairie Village. We are here today to proclaim a simple and powerful truth. Human needs are human rights. And I am here to speak about the needs of LGBTQ and queer Kansans. And the first thing I want to say is this: we are not an abstraction. We are your neighbors, your co-workers, your teachers, your clergy, your kids, and your grandparents. We live in rural towns and urban neighborhoods. We farm and we teach and we heal and we serve. Kansas is our home, and our lives here matter. Human needs are human rights. For LGBTQ Kansans, the most basic human needs are often treated as optional. These include our sense of safety, our ability to secure housing and adequate health care, the ability to exist in public without fear, the freedom to love who we love, and to live honestly as who we are. These are human needs, and human needs are human rights. In recent years, the policies that have been debated and enacted in our state have had real consequences, especially for transgender Kansans and their families. Laws affecting access to medically recommended health care, especially for young people, have created fear and uncertainty for families trying to support their children's well-being. Other policy decisions have turned something as basic as an ID card into barriers that affect daily life, safety, and dignity. But today is not only about naming harm. Today is about reclaiming hope. A moral vision for Kansas is one where every queer person knows that they are protected by law, valued by their community, and free to build a future here. That means policies rooted in fairness and non-discrimination in housing, employment, education, and healthcare. It means affirming that medical decisions belong with patients, families, and professionals. It means recognizing that dignity and safety are not privileges, they are human needs, and human needs are human rights. And if we dare to look further, If we allow ourselves to dream, we can imagine a Kansas where our youth do not have to be brave just to be themselves. A Kansas where our elders can age with security and respect. A Kansas where families of all kinds can put down roots, contribute fully, and thrive. This is what it looks like when we take human rights seriously, when we remember that human needs are human rights. Strong communities are built when families are safe, when they belong, and when their humanity is not up for debate. So today, I invite you to stay engaged, to share our stories, contact your legislators, submit testimony, advocate for people-centered policy rooted in dignity and compassion. My friends, we are here, and we've got allies, and we will not be afraid anymore. Because queer Kansans are not asking for permission to exist. We are claiming our place, and together we are building a Kansas where human needs are human rights for everybody.
Good afternoon. You are beautiful. My name is Angie Powers, and I use she, her pronouns. I am a proud member of Kansas City A and an English language arts teachers in our Kansas public schools. For the last 25 years, my work has been helping students and educators find their voices and use them. One of the things I teach my students is that poetry helps us name what matters, particularly when the world feels heavy. It doesn't give us easy answers, but it gives us a language for hope. So I want to offer a few lines to you today in the spirit of that hope from Good Bones by Maggie Smith. I am trying to sell them the world. Any decent realtor chirps on about good bones. This place could be beautiful, right? You could make this place beautiful. When I read those lines, I think that is our work. Everyday educators and educational support professionals, we see you work alongside our students, and we invite them into the world. A world where they belong, where they're valued, where they have a voice. That is what a great public school does. A great public school welcomes every student, brown and black and indigenous students, students with disabilities, students from immigrant families, queer students. Students discovering who they are and who they are becoming. Great public schools invest in people. When a student is hungry, we feed them. When a student is struggling or a family needs help, we connect them with support. Public schools prepare young people not just for jobs, but for citizenship, for listening, questioning, caring for one another. They are places where we practice democracy together. Public schools are promises. They're promises we make to one another, that every student belongs, every education worker is respected, and the future is something that we build together. That is the vision. And Maggie Smith's poem reminds us that that vision, it is not enough. You don't build something beautiful on intention. You build it on good bones. But good bones, they are not abstract. They're felt in bodies, in classrooms, in communities. That's why human needs are because safe and welcoming schools, nutritious food, health, housing, stable housing, dignified, sustainable work. Those are all the good bones of a thriving community. They are what hold up that vision. And I know I'm not alone in this vision. This doesn't belong to us, the speakers. It belongs to us, the people. We believe strong schools build strong communities. We believe that caring for students means caring for the workers who educate them. We believe that democracy only works when people are at the center of decisions. I'm a proud public school educator. I'm a proud union member because our schools is where we build a shared democratic vision, and collective action is how we turn that vision into a shared future. This place could be beautiful, right? We can make this place beautiful. Thank you. Hello, everybody. My name is Anu Yadav, and this is Claire Chadwick. We're part of SCORE, Songs in the Key of Resistance, a collective of artists across faith and race and other differences with the Kairos Center for Religions, Rights, and Social Justice. We're going to share a song with you by Jewish song leader Joshua Blaine, who's also part of SCORE. He wanted to say it's inspired by the book We Cry Justice and the story of the Hebrew Exodus that rejects the notion of a chosen people at the expense of anybody else. And I want to say I stand with you as a Hindu that knows that human needs are human rights. And I want to just call in my mother. This song is for my mother, and I fight for her right to Medicaid and our right, our human right to health, dignity, and safety. So I'll say the song, you're going to repeat back after me. No one is getting left behind this time.
No one is getting left behind this time.
No one is getting left behind.
No one is getting left behind.
No one is getting left behind this time.
No one is getting left behind this time.
We get there together or never get there at all.
We get there together or never get there at all.
We get there together or never get there at all.
We get there together or never get there at all.
So we're going to sing it, and y'all will join along as you get the tune, right? And I want you to just remember the power of our voices. Let it be a reminder of the power of our ability to change things. And we'll blast the roof up with our voices and just call in everything, okay? You're going to sing it loud. But I know you got to get the tune first, so, I get that. No one is getting left behind this time. No one is getting left behind. No one is getting left behind this time. We get there together or never get there at all. We get there together or never get there at all. No one is getting left behind this time. No one is getting left behind. No one is getting left behind this time. We get there together or never get there at all. We get there together or never get there at all. We get there together or never get there at all. No one is getting left behind this time. No one is getting left behind. No one is getting left behind this time. We get there together or never get there at all. We get there together or never get there at all. We get there together or never get there at all. Thank you, everybody.
well, hello. All right, you can do better than that. If you're excited to be here today, if you're excited to be in the moment and in the movement, say hello. All right, and thank you all for being here today. My name is Micah Kubic with the ACLU in Kansas. I am happy to be here. Thank you for being here. I want to thank everyone who put this wonderful, joyful family reunion together, but especially my very dear friend Moti Rieber, not just for today, but for the moral voice that he brings every day of the year. Now, you've already heard a lot today about the challenges that we face in this state. You don't need me to pile on. I will, but you don't need me to, because you already know what the challenges are. But when I think about the challenges that we face in this state, I'm reminded of a song from my faith tradition, one that says, though trials come on every hand, I feel like going on. Though trials come on every hand, I feel like going on. Now, I don't know about you, maybe you see it differently, but I see trials coming on every hand right now. I see them here in this very building, where last year legislators decided that voters should be punished when the post office is slow, and decided to make voting harder. We face the trial of Chris Kobach and his crew, who keep trying to make voting a privilege for the few rather than a right of the many. Trials come on every hand from the extremists in this state house who stand in the way of people getting identity documents that match who they are rather than who meddling politicians want them to be. Trials come on every hand from this administration that's attempting to turn ICE into an amoral secret police occupying every city in America. One that wreaks terror with no accountability and takes away lives and livelihoods with impunity. Trials are coming on every hand from attacks on free speech as those in power squelch protest and stifle dissent. Trials come on every hand from those who want to ban diversity, equity, and inclusion. They don't just want to ban the words, no, they want to criminalize anybody who looks, talks, acts, thinks differently than they do. They want to write entire groups out of our community. They want the song of America to be played with only the white keys. Oh, trials come from every hand as authoritarianism creeps into the room in the way that power is centralized, transparency is discarded, the rich and powerful grow more rich and powerful at the expense of all of us, and the extremist elites become ever more brazen about saying that the law doesn't matter, rights don't matter, values don't matter, and most importantly, we, the people, don't matter. Oh, yes, my friends, there are trials coming on every hand. And those who inflict those trials upon us, they think they're going to win because they think we're going to get tired. They hope that you will be quiet and quiescent. They expect you to give up. And to all of that, I have but one thing to say, and it is this: I feel like going on. Oh, trials come at every hand, but I feel like going on. And that's why we are here today, to say we ain't gonna get tired, we ain't gonna get quiet, we ain't gonna give up. We're gonna resist, insist, and persist until they cease and desist. But we feel like going on. And that doesn't just mean that we're gonna persist in defeating the attacks that they wage on people and principles. No, it also means that we feel like going on beyond what this legislature says can be done. They want to constrain our imagination. But we are done putting parameters on possibility. We are done with others dictating to us what is doable, and we will not be scolded into settling because we feel like going on. There is a mural in this building that says that Kansas started as tragic prelude. And now we are living in a trying present, but we feel like going on to a Kansas that is bold and bright and beautiful. Oh, we feel like going on. We feel like going on where civil rights and civil liberties and human rights are made real every day in every way, but we feel like going on. And so today, if you are here today to defend the Constitution, to defend values, to defend human rights, and if you are within the sound of my voice, I want to hear you say, I feel like going on. All right, I heard you. The neighbor heard you. Now let every person in this building hear you. Say, I feel like going on. I feel like going on. Oh, we face trials, but we will not let them prevail. We will not let them decimate the Constitution. We will not let them desecrate our values. Human needs are human rights, and we feel like going on.
All right, thanks everybody for coming. We're about to go to our last speaker, and we're actually on time, amazingly enough. The tables over here by our sponsoring organizations will be open for another probably hour, so please visit with them. We do have an ask of you, an action alert thing today. There's these postcards. Pick up a postcard, and on the back it says, I'm from your constituent, I'm from wherever I'm from, and on the 3 issues I'm most concerned about. And we're asking you to drop one off at your House member and at your senator's office. And make sure you interact with the office assistant. There's the postcards are over here on the host table. You take 2. We don't have a ton of them. I mean, we don't have a ton of them, but please make an effort to go to your legislator's office this afternoon and drop this off and talk about human needs or human rights. Thanks so much for coming, and I'll introduce Reverend Mandy Todd.
Good afternoon, friends. I am the Reverend Dr. Mandy Todd. I am the Director of Engagement and Development at Kansas Interfaith Action, one of the co-sponsoring organizations. How about these sponsors? Friends, in the Christian church year, we have entered the season of the Epiphany. This is a season that the foreign wise ones, you know them as kings, they warn Jesus' family of a tyrannical king who kills innocent children. Sound familiar? The Epiphany season is a period of illumination. Stars and candles and fires burn brightly to reveal that which was once hidden. The sins of the world that lead us to do hateful and harmful things. The season of Epiphany takes us to the season of Lent, in which we repent for those sins, and we learn how to walk towards new life, rebirth, where love reigns and justice prevails. My friends, we are in a similar Epiphany season in our state and in our nation. So much is being revealed. The truth of our complicity with racism, misogyny, queerphobia, and Christian supremacy is on full display in America today. And there are Christian nationalists in offices all over this building who will claim that the sin from which we must repent is the sin of same-sex loving relationships. Or the sin of feeding hungry Kansans. Or the sin of providing refuge to the most vulnerable among us. There are lawmakers in these chambers who want us to repent from the sin of empathy. I am here to tell you today, as an ordained minister in the Christian tradition, empathy is not a sin. You want to know what's a sin? Putting the desires of billionaires before the needs of the poor, turning money and power and privilege into a god, because thou shalt have no other god than me. You want to know what's a sin? Going to church on Sunday and then walking into this building on Monday to rush through a bill that would make it dangerous for trans people to exist. Our God says, keep holy the Sabbath. You know what's a sin? Denying food to the hungry, shelter to the unhoused, refuge to the foreigner, and claiming that you are doing God's work. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord your God in vain. This is the sin we must reveal in these days. And that is why we are here. We are the light shining brightly to reveal what is wrong, demanding the repentance of this nation, and looking forward to the birth of something more alive, more just, something nicer, something kinder, something more human, something more divine. I'm not saying it'll be easy. Real change never is. But strengthened by our time together today, I feel stronger, to you. Strengthened today, we must go from this place to shine our light into all the places that sin hides. In hearings and committee meetings right here in this State House. In press releases and interviews from officials, in city council meetings, in ICE raids, in our churches, and in our homes. We are the light. So let's shine it today. You know this one. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. I need to hear you, baby. This little light of mine, put your light up. I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Woo. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Won't let anyone blow it out. Won't let tyranny blow it out. Woo! Won't let Christian nationalism blow it out.